this rags to riches stream that had everybody up in up in their fields last week and everything with this attorney who I don't know if he actually I don't think he disclosed his name. I did follow him. And I forget his handle or what his Twitter name is. Shoot, I'll see if I can find him. But law something. Somebody's going to have it in the chat. Bit.
I think it's I think it's Bit Law.
You're right. Yeah. So I enjoyed that stream. I mean, I didn't enjoy like what he had to say necessarily, but I thought it was worthwhile to approach this whole SEC and Richard Hart situation. If anybody did miss it, I would go check it out. It was Rags to Riches a day last week that I can't remember, with BitLaw, and he really was approaching it overall more so looking at the SEC side of things, what they can do. And also that's the positioning of most of Rag's questions. He was asking like, what should we expect? What should Richard Hart expect? What will the SEC do? And there was a lot of scary sounding stuff like, oh, they could come seize hex.com and all these ways that they could continue to bleed Richard dry if he doesn't, do exactly what they ask for here. A lot of scary sounding stuff that a lot of people I think took as like, this is what's going to happen. But I think it was more like, this is what a worst case scenario could look like, depending upon what Richard decides to do, whether he is going to speak with them and try to work something out, which is what happens in the overwhelming majority of these cases, or if he tries to fight it until the bitter end, whatever it may be. But a lot of the scenarios that Lawbit threw out sounded scary. I mean, to me, like I said, the like seizing of the front ends or whatever, like the websites and stuff like that, and then freezing his assets and all this, basically just squeezing them out so you can't you don't have any options. So what was your impression overall of the stream, and how did you come out feeling about it?
So if you do go back and watch it, keep in mind it's not bullish at all. There is a lot of FUD, and I do want to thanks Clifton for the super chat. We appreciate it. So it's not bullish at all. It's very filled with FUD and some scary stuff. But I believe it's worst case scenario type thing. Honestly, the SEC, I still feel that they're more in a money grab position. That's why they're going after all these things. That's why they won't provide clarity to people. It's a money grab as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they want to. They don't want clarity. They want a whole bunch of people that are confused on what the rules are, so that they can continue to sue. They can continue to get resolution and settlements here and there, plea deals, things like that, to pay fines and just feed their little whatever they've got going on. I mean, I really think that's what it is. Yes, it was very scary. There was a lot of things that they said that they could do, but will they? Who knows? I mean, from what I understand, there's a tough judge who
I did see that. Yeah,
who had some pretty awful rulings against somebody else. I don't even remember who it was, but they want to try it in New York, in that district, with this judge who is just not crypto friendly at all.
She's also about 80, by the way. I know we're all a little bit sick of the age of a lot of these people. Yeah. She's about 80 years old, I saw.
Yeah. So it's not pro crypto at all. And a lot of the things that he said, you have to take it with a grain of salt too, because we all know how intelligent Richard is, and I'm sure he's schooling his lawyers. I don't know how much he'll get to talk. It's usually the lawyers that do the talking, but
right.
We all know Richard's probably just as smart, if not smarter than the lawyers. So I'm sure they'll be spending some time together, educating them on a lot of these talking points too. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't good, but again, I think it was a worst case scenario type deal. And I think we'll be somewhere in the middle. I think that's our worst case, is really somewhere in the middle. Could they freeze the funds? Maybe. What if it's a multi-sig wallet? That means
Yeah.
he has to get everybody to give up keys, right? We just don't know. And as far as spending funds, I'm sure he can probably prove that pretty quickly too, that it wasn't
Yeah.
the wrong funds. So that gets thrown out. There were no funds misappropriated. They're still there. So I think again, it was a very worst case scenario. And you should probably plan for somewhere in the middle to be the worst case.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to find the name of that judge. I remember I read about the other incident where she, I forget the exact story, but she basically, she basically took action against some kind of crypto entity before it even hit court, like just unilaterally did. But I do think it was about 6 years ago. I think it was in 2017 when
Yeah, it was
she would
early.
have been just like a young 74 or something like that. But yeah, it was a little while ago, I think. So we'll see. I mean, like, yeah, you can look at every angle of everything in life, and oh my god, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. And like, you know, let's just wait and see what happens here. Because you could also look at, hey, this is an elderly judge who might not want to deal with this garbage and doesn't understand it. And it's like, what? Why are you bringing this to my district? Uniswap? What are you talking about? And all this. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I hang again, just like with the Michael Burry stuff and everything. Hanging by everybody's word to that level is just not going to be helpful, I don't think. So
yeah. Agree.
Yeah, Clifton. So we'll see how that turns out. And hey, kudos to Rags too. There should not be any hate on Rags to Riches. I'm glad that he had that interview, and he's also seeking out attorneys because there was really not many lines of questioning from Rags. So I don't think it was even their intent to discuss, okay, if that is the SEC's course of action, if you're Richard, what do you do? I know everybody likes to hate on us and everybody else in Hex for bowing to Richard and everything like that, but we know how smart of a guy he is. So we may not know what kind of tricks he could have up his sleeve. So even if anybody comes out saying, well, here's what Richard could do, there could be other stuff that we haven't even thought of. And we're just simply not him. So we don't know how prepared he is for this and what specifically he's ready to dish back,
And we don't even know if he's answered. We don't know.
I don't think he has, actually.
I don't know how long he has for them to do whatever he's got to do. If they've even been able to serve him, who knows? It's really hard to say at this point what kind of timeline we're even looking at. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Definitely months anyway, I believe. But BitLaw did mention that he checked the docket though of, I guess, that jurisdiction or what that courthouse would be, and there was no answer to any of it from his side of things yet, from Richard's side. So